John loves football on GoTV, so he traded being a best man for being a best fan. Miriam stood her date up just for this matchup. Albert and his family had plans, but they couldn't miss this, and neither can you. Because this new football season, this is football worth watching. Dial *423# to get a GoTV decoder and 1 month of GoTV Max for 1,999 shillings to get all the football action. GoTV, live it, love it.
Na msibabaishwe na yale mnayoyapitia, hata yawe magumu kiasi gani, yote yatapita. La msingi ni kuweka tumaini letu kwa Mungu aliyetuumba. Katika kitabu cha Warumi 5:3, wala si hivyo tu, ila mnafurahia.
Kupata dhiki huleta zaburi, bonyeza *811 *963#. Bonyeza *811 *963#.
We need this win, Wanjala. You have to win.
They are fearless, yet friendly.
I hope aura machungu after ile game ya mwisho.
I'm allowed to be concerned about you, Wanjala. I'm your wife.
I will take good care of you. Fierce, yet fair.
Pa combo sasa. Pop! Toza kidogo. Pop pop.
Firm, yet faultless.
You embarrassed Mom. All of us.
But it would be nice if someone would look out for me too.
You don't listen to me. Because you always want to tell me how to...
Jemo unadu nini hapa?
You are embarrassing me.
Ina lobi mimi siwezani nayo.
Kona, Kenya's daily drama.
Taina train ya tona muhimu sana kwa life yangu. Kwa hivyo vile mimi nafanya hapa ni upuzi.
Naweza kukusaidia kujua ni akina nani?
Mimi siwezi chukua msaada kutoka kwa Saitani.
What is this?
It's a make or break chance.
Your fun, fabulous, full team of Kona. Every fine weekday, right here on KBC Channel 1. Tonight on KBC Channel 1.
I'm a real say I'll never make it. The dreams I'm chasing.
This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
Freeze! This is a holdup.
Ease up there, Casper.
I wouldn't do that.
You're not a rapper.
So pull your pants up.
Guess who's back in town? Who? Annie Streets. I was gonna catch a movie tomorrow night.
By yourself?
You know that Mexican guy you arrested? You don't know who you're messing with.
Release my brother if you want to see her alive.
Where do you think you're going?
I'm going to Mexico.
No, you're not going to Mexico.
When danger becomes a reality, it must be met head on.
12 gauge in the knee seat. Gonna race the label off the red man to ride. I'm a redneck fool in a four-wheel drive. Got a 12 gauge in the...
Every Saturday and Sunday, KBC rejuvenates your weekend with gospel tunes and strengthen your faith with the word.
I need you right.
As we bring you Seventh-day Adventist Sermon, Saturdays at 10 a.m.
In the Bible, we can find answers to life's most important questions.
The Holy Mass on Sundays at 9:30 a.m.
Mwana kondoo wa Mungu aondoaye dhambi za dunia. Tazameni yeye anayetuponya magonjwa yetu yote ya mwili na ya roho.
The All Saints Cathedral at 11 a.m.
Pray that the Lord Jesus Christ may raise you to be a witness.
KBC Channel 1. This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
Mwalimu, Angie's mother shares a birthday with Fala's girlfriend.
Really? What a weird coincidence.
You and I both can agree that all this is not for Sisha.
Saitan. See, I thought we said we are not going to speak about that Jetien again. Why are you spoiling my mood, Yawa?
Please, you say, what is wrong, eh?
Prince what? You think I'm one of those women you are calling?
Mwalimu, can you imagine Sister wants to kill Ngalo?
Or maybe it is you.
Me? Why? What did I do to you?
This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
Wiki kwenye mkulima tangazia chai aina ya zambarau.
Hii chai inaitwa purple tea, imezunduliwa na watafiti wetu. Hii purple tea research imetuonyesha iko na manufaa kwa mwili ya binadamu.
Ungana nami Frederick Mbada Jumapili saa 9:30 nikupe uondo kamili.
Tonight on KBC Channel 1.
Do you think she should get married?
No, lazima Uzaya alikuachia clue. Na hii clue iko karibu sana hata kuliko vile unafikiria.
You're going to stand there, arms folded, watch future yako ikievaporate. Ama will you let your voice be heard? Are you spying on me?
I'm merely looking out for you. I have to know what you're up to.
She realized that she couldn't always be happy with a man next to the ghetto.
Tonight on KBC Channel 1.
I'm a real say I'll never make it. The dreams I'm chasing.
KBC, in collaboration with the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, is broadcasting enhanced out-of-class learning on radio, television and online. Catch the lessons every weekday on KBC Channel 1 from 2 to 4 p.m. on KBC English Service and 15 FM from 9:15 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Radio Taifa from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. KBC English Service, Radio Taifa and 15 FM are also available countrywide on the free-to-air Signet digital TV platform, or log on to www.kbc.co.ke for live streaming, or download the KBC Online app on Google Play Store. Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, ensuring learning no matter what.
Welcome back. Now moving on, the National Cohesion and Integration Commission now says it will engage religious organizations, government agencies, the civil society and the diplomatic community, among others, to ensure there is no repeat of what happened in Kenol, Murang'a County, where 2 people died following political fracas on Sunday. The commission further called on Kenyans to stop divisive and disruptive politics.
The National Cohesion and Integration Commission of Kenya has expressed its concern over the political temperatures currently on an upward trajectory in the country. The concerns are drawn from utterances by those in the political class that the Commission says is a threat to the peace that the country has so dearly safeguarded. Speaking at the Commission's office, Commission Chair Reverend Samuel Akobia said that it is time to refrain from utterances that may drive the country to a civil strife.
What we are witnessing in the country today is a likely precursor of violent conflicts that would lead to loss of lives, destruction of property, and the displacement of people, such as witnessed during the 2007 2008 post-election violence.
Kubia further called on those in the political class to exercise positive leadership and urged their supporters to uphold peace in the country. On public gatherings and meetings, Kubia said that it's illegal to deter anyone from holding such, as it is only the police that need to be informed prior to the gathering.
These are liberties guaranteed in our constitution. Therefore, we call upon leaders to go ahead and organize their meetings if they wish, but to ensure that they are peaceful.
The Commission is now urging Kenyans not to play participant in the ongoing succession politics.
We must cultivate a culture of non-violence, respect for the rule of law, and tolerance for divergent opinions.
Yusufar, Channel 1 News.
Well, thank you so much, Yusufara, for that report. Now, let's shift gears to the corridors of justice, where the court has delivered a ruling on the 3 Westgate Mall attack suspects in reference to a count of conspiracy and support of a terror attack. The court has found them guilty and has acquitted the second accused person. Now, on a separate matter, moving on to a separate matter, Gatundu North residents are set to go to the polls to elect a new member of parliament after the High Court annulled the election of Wanjiku Kibe as the member of parliament. This comes as the Media Council of Kenya has petitioned IEBC to block politicians threatening journalists from vying for political seats.
It is back to the drawing board for the electoral body after the court declared the seat for Gatundu North vacant. The MP Anne Wanjiku Kibe has lost her seat after her predecessor Clement Kungu Waibara moved to the court seeking to have her seat declared vacant on grounds that Wanjiku Kibe was not qualified to vie for the parliamentary seat since she had not resigned as a nominated representative for the Kiambu County Assembly at the time. In the ruling that invalidated her election, Judge Wellon Koril directed IBC to conduct fresh parliamentary election in Gatundu North. The judge ruled that she was not validly elected due to the violation of elections laws. This as the Media Council of Kenya boss David Omoyo now says the council will petition the Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission not to clear politicians accused of threatening journalists to run for elective seats. Omoyo says the government should at all times protect the media against any aggression from politicians who incite the public for their political gains.
Equipment for COVID and all that, but now journalists also need protective equipment when they go to cover these political meetings under high political tensions, because you never know when the tear gas will strike or when the button will come in.
Meanwhile, Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya has called on the investigative bodies to exhaust all avenues on cases to allow for prosecution of parties involved. Oparanya claims the National Cohesion and Integration Commission and the ethics watchdog EACC must have watertight cases if the public is to get justice on hate speech and corruption cases.
The objective of the various laws have not been fully realized. Despite the various laws and prerogatives in the quest against corruption, the vice has remained rampant in the country. This has led to the low confidence by the members of the public in the rule of law. The fight against corruption in Kenya requires a coordinated approach and synergy of all stakeholders.
And a youth lobby group in Kiambu has cautioned the youth against being misused in settling political scores following the fracas witnessed over the weekend in Murang'a County.
So unfortunate to us when we heard that deaths because of politics have started in Murang'a, and we would strongly as an organization condemn those people who arranged, those people who programmed, and those people who executed whatever that happened in that region.
Wazazi na vijana wote tushikane na tujue kweli tumepoteza njia
turudi kwa njia, sisi tutafute amani kwa kila njia na tuache mambo yote ya kuchocheana.
For Channel 1 News, I'm Gladys Mongai.
Now, on a separate matter, the Ministry of Education and a non-governmental organization have trained more than 2,500 pupils from 40 schools in Tana River following the start of the pandemic. Now, the accelerated learning program entailed the development and broadcast of radio lessons to learners focusing on literacy and numeracy reading skills. At the heart of Tana Delta Sub-County, Tana River County. These are the scenes that characterize various homesteads. Small groups of learners congregate to listen to radio lessons being broadcast on a solar-powered radio.
Baada hapo itakuwa tunazidi kusonga mbele katika.
Spearheaded by the Ministry of Education in collaboration with Zizi Afrique through the accelerated learning program, more than 2,500 pupils from 40 schools in the region are benefiting from a literacy and numeracy reading skills through the lessons being broadcast in efforts to ensure continuity of learning amid the COVID-19 pandemic.
We faced a lot of challenge because this sub-county, there is problem of network. This sub-county, because of the poverty index, high poverty index level, we have very few who have access to radio or even smartphone. So those two factors, all those factors combined, lack of network, lack of accessibility to mobile phones and even TV, it is very difficult to have online learning.
Enrollment hapa huwa ziko juu sana. Unaona mwalimu mmoja ana handle kama kwa darasa moja kuna kama watoto 70 kwa darasa moja, hata 100 kwa darasa moja, na mwalimu ni mmoja. So ni ile tu tunaomba serikali iajiri more teachers, pia wakiajiri more teachers workload nayo pia itapungua.
At the same time, 44 teaching assistants have been dispatched to the villages to assess learners' progress. A majority of learners failed to acquire reading skills at grade 2 level in English and Kiswahili, according to a survey conducted by the Ministry of Education on literacy levels among pupils in lower primary school.
Watoto wetu wameachwa nyuma kwa upande wa kusoma. Si watoto wote. Unaweza ona hata mtoto yuko grade ya juu kama grade 3, 4, 5, lakini ana shida ya kusoma.
Tana Delta Sub-County Teachers Service Commission Director Douglas Maenge said the program commenced in January this year before schools were shut down, adding that the sub-county has 12,000 primary school pupils and about 5,000 secondary school students, adding that most pupils fail to proceed to the next level because of cultural practices and low literacy levels. This even as he pointed out that the COVID-19 has posed a huge challenge to the education sector, adding that almost 25% of pupils may not resume schools as they may have been married off, others dropping out among other challenges.
We have high level of teenage pregnancies. For sure, after the COVID-19, quite a good percentage, almost 25%, may not go back to school because of teenage pregnancies and early child marriages which is taking place.
Teachers and parents lauded the initiative, saying it was a crucial tool to the learners. Now, on a separate matter, President Uhuru Kenyatta has dedicated the forthcoming weekend from the 9th to the 11th of October as the National Weekend of Prayer, during which Kenyans are encouraged to pray for the country in their usual places of worship in compliance with the COVID-19 containment protocols. Now, this coming even as on Saturday, that is the 10th of October, the head of state will convene an interfaith national prayer service at State House, Nairobi, starting at 10 a.m. The interfaith prayer service will be broadcast live to the entire country on all leading television, radio, and digital media platforms. Now, moving on, Close to 400 people have lost their lives to wildlife attacks in the last 3 years, according to the latest data from Kenya Wildlife Services. The data indicates between 2017 to 2020, 388 Kenyans died after being attacked by wild animals, while 2,080 were left nursing various wounds. Now, this came as the Ministry of Tourism Wildlife identified hippo as the new killer in town, owing to change of their habitat occasioned by the swelling phenomenon of lakes.
According to Environment Principal Secretary Professor Fred Segor, the government has to date used over 1.6 billion shillings to compensate victims of wildlife attacks. The PS noted that there was a pending debt of 608 million shillings in unpaid claims, adding that the government was keen to settle these in the current financial year. Segor noted that the total number of pending claims stood at 9,367, with crop destruction being the highest at 4,135.
Take note that it is from the counties that they presented this information, and therefore, as a procedure, it will be very important for our committee at the ministry to look at this and authenticate the same, so that when we say we are owing this number of money to people affected by wildlife, indeed it has undergone the process.
This emerged when the PS inaugurated the Ministerial Wildlife Compensation and Conservation Committee at KWS Training Institute in Naivasha. Segor attributed the rising cases of human-wildlife conflict to an increase in population with land meant for wildlife shrinking.
So there is a competition between human and wildlife in terms of space. As we increase in population, as human beings, it's expected that we increase in terms of land size. So most likely, the culprit or the consequence of this is that we reduce the land which was meant for wildlife.
On the hippo attacks, he admitted that the cases were on the rise, mainly around water bodies that have swollen in the last couple of months. The PS was, however, quick to note that fencing of forests, mainly in the Mount Kenya region, has drastically reduced human-wildlife conflict, as the animals were no longer straying to homes and farms.
We are able to contain the wildlife within protected areas only. They don't come out of their protected areas. And so by doing this, we reduce that human-wildlife conflict.
Beatrice Gatonyang-Etich, Channel 1 News.
The government has put in place measures to protect girls and young women against harassment on the social media space. Information and Communication Cabinet Secretary Joe Musheru said the government has initiated a program in partnership with the International Telecommunication Union to educate, empower and protect those in the digital space in the country.
The signing of the open letter to call to action management of Facebook, Instagram, TikTok and Twitter is part of a larger campaign by Plan International aimed at pushing them to create stronger and more effective ways to report abuse and harassment, especially for young girls and young women online. The initiative under the Free to Be Online So Girls in Kenya enumerate the challenges they continue to face as they try to penetrate the online space.
Bullying and harassment has discouraged many girls and young women from engaging in conversations on social media and openly sharing their views because they feel discriminated.
The girls have urged the government to create more awareness on what the law says and make available helplines where incidences of violence can be reported and perpetrators brought to book.
Girls and young women are left out because they are unable to access various digital platforms such as internet connectivity continues to be a problem in many parts of Kenya. For instance, while some people were able to access online education, many of us were unable to study online and continue with our education. Our plea as young people is that digital access is prioritized, even to underprivileged communities.
On his part, Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Information and Communication, Jomo Shero, noted that the online platform provides an opportunity for young girls to have conversations that are important to them and contribute to a global stage, hence need to ensure the players are protected.
COVID-19 has presented, a time where many people have gone online, especially the young girls, and we have seen there's been an increase. So with the Communications Authority, we initiated a program, and this is in partnership with the International Telecommunications Union, where we are specifically looking at how to, one, educate, empower, and then protect our young girls online, because there's been an increase in the number of predators, fake news, all manner of things that are going on online, and especially the harassment that goes on.
A survey released by Plan International yesterday indicated that girls and young women are continuously subjected to sexual harassment, disempowering them even further. The research shows abuse spread on various platforms, with 39% recorded on Facebook, 23% on Instagram, 14% on WhatsApp, 10% on Snapchat, 9% on Twitter, and 6% on TikTok. This coming days before the world marks International Day of the African Girl Child. Caroline Kamar reporting for Channel 1 Lunchtime News.
No student will be sent away from school as the government commences the phased opening of learning institutions across the country. Speaking in Kisumu, Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha warned that school heads must be cognizant of the current economic situation occasioned by the COVID-19 pandemic, but more so the fact that the government has released funds meant for free primary education. Magoha says secondary schools funds will be released today.
So, as we move along, I wanted to clarify a few things for you. I will not field any questions. The first point is that free learning money for primary schools has already been released. It should be in schools today or tomorrow. And our officers are working with those schools. Yes, sir. Your officers are not in the offices, eh? I hope they are not in the offices, but in the field, eh? The secondary school funds will reach schools by tomorrow. Our foot is on the pedal. So as far as money is concerned, the schools are going to get money. The confusion that has always been attributed to schools opening in January should never have been there, because we always had a rider stating very clearly that should the situation change, then we as government will relook. And if you are fair to the government, you will find that that statement has been consistent. You are also aware that the key driver to our opening schools now is because the public were not very happy that our children were going to lose 1 year. And what we are doing now with a curve that is flat is that we shall recoup that year. I'm aware that there is a pushback, but there shall never be any time that we shall be able to satisfy everybody. I've just spoken to Mr. Mayo, who is in charge of all parents in Kenya, and a great majority of parents are indeed very happy that the government has been bold enough to open the schools. These decisions that have been made were made through a thoroughbred stakeholder consultation before government considered them, and of course, us telling you what they are about. I would like to plead with the parents and the teachers at the same time that everybody is aware COVID is here and it has had effect in every family, including my extended family. And therefore, we must treat our children with the love and empathy that is required. Therefore, as long as the principals will still do their work, and we would want to ask them to ensure that no Kenyan child in the secondary school sector, the boarding secondary school sector for that matter, is sent home because of school fees. every child must be admitted into school, and the issue of fees will be sorted out later. I want to re-emphasize that 75% of secondary schools in this country are day schools, which are fully catered for by government as far as tuition is concerned and all the other small issues of running the schools. So the monies that they should be demanding should be for boarding. I am also aware that we preserved the foods that were stored in various school stores. So that food is still there. And I would want to challenge our teachers who are indeed very good and committed that they should use that food judiciously. And if there are children who genuinely cannot afford to pay fees, they should not demand that fees as at now. You will also remember that the government of the Republic of Kenya, per constitution, allows all primary school children to be taught free of charge compulsorily. So the issue of school fees does not arise. On the small matter of masks, I would like to plead with our parents and even teachers and our communities. I was at Nyeri National Polytechnic, and I saw the cheapest mask there, which was a cloth mask. The cloth mask was going for about 25 shillings. So 2 cloth masks would cost 50 shillings. We love our children. That is just like a loaf of bread. We are not being insensitive, but children must wear masks. They must wear masks in school. And I'm challenging every other person, should a child come to school without a mask, rather than sending that child away, make sure you get a mask for that child. Beyond that, we are also making masks through certain people, and I believe those masks will be ready. We shall be very, very strict in terms of identifying the needy groups, probably in the slums across the nation, that will benefit from them. But it's a far cry, because it will be about 1.7 million masks as compared to 26 million. In terms of children getting ill during the process, we are ready, and we have ensured that all schools are linked to health institutions. And I strongly believe that we are going to go forward with this.
Now, the National Tuberculosis Program is expressing concern over the high number of TB patients who have failed to access medication since the onset of the pandemic. This comes as data reveals 60,000 TB patients cannot be traced, which puts hundreds at risk of contracting the disease. They are also raising concern over the decline in funding by the Global Fund towards fighting TB.
According to the Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops Technical Advisor on TB issues, Michael Masharia, Kenya was among 30 countries in the world that had a high TB burden. He attributed the high number of victims who were not undergoing treatment to poor quality screening at community levels and stigma.
That report, the one thing you would notice, other than being among the 30 high burden TB countries in the world, Kenya also ranks as among the top 20 as far as TB, TB-HIV and MDR-TB burden is concerned.
During a meeting by members of Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops, the National TB Program and officials from 9 counties who met under the Commercial TB Program in Naivasha to address the disease after the pandemic, Masharia noted that funding from Global Fund was on the decline, affecting set interventions despite the Ministry of Health increasing its allocation towards fighting the disease.
The country had a TB incidence of around 146,000 TB cases. Of that, we are only able to identify 86,000 cases. So if you do the math, you realize we missed around like 60,000 cases as far as TB is concerned. Is that a concern? Yes. Why? Because these cases are in the community.
He noted that stigma and the number of defaulters were on the rise, with the country reporting 692 cases of multi-drug resistance last year.
And the one thing that we know, there are a few things that will contribute to those. One of them being quality of screening in our facilities. The other thing we know that also contributes is also the stigma that is associated with TB, where sometimes people feel that TB, if you have TB, for example, you also have HIV. So that in its essence also makes people not seek health services.
The pandemic, according to Hazel Oyungu, who is also a program officer, the pandemic had affected the fight against TB as patients shy away from health centers. Beatrice Getonyang-Etich, Channel 1 News.
Now, the cactus plant, scientifically known as Optonia stricta or prickly pear, which grows in the arid and semi-arid areas, has for the longest time had adverse impacts on livestock and wildlife, which reports of National Environment Management Authority contemplating to biologically control the plant by releasing insects that had been used to successfully eliminate the plant in South Africa and Australia. The Participatory Ecological Land Use Management Association and Laikipia Permaculture have, however, given farmers in this region a lifeline by organizing value addition training, with the beneficiaries being women and youth groups within the devolved units who are currently harnessing the nutritional value of cactus plants by making wine, yogurt, jam, honey, oils, concentrates and juices. The director of LPC, Joseph Letunyoi, mentioned the program was prompted after studies showing the impact of overgrazing compromised the usefulness, productivity and biodiversity of land in most of the arid and semi-arid parts of the country. Pelum has also introduced into the program the component of management of scarce water through improved irrigation and storage technologies.
Hatujapanda cactus kwetu, imekuwa, it have been there, imekuweko. Kwa hivyo, na hapo awali ilikuwa inatusumbua sana, maana mifugo wakila wanakufa, mifugo inachukua space. Kwa hivyo hata mahali ya kulishia imekosekana, unapata watu wanahama kwa sababu cactus imewakabili. Na sasa hivi tumepata solution, tunaweza sifuna matunda yao, we make juice, tunatengeneza alloy products kama juice, kama alcohol, tunatengeneza jam, tunatengeneza cream, tunatengeneza pia mafuta, that is lotion, tunatengeneza soap, na sasa tumeanza kusikata na imekuwa ya manufaa sasa kwa community. Kwa hivyo nataka kuambia wamama wengine wajifunze ile kitu ambayo inaleta challenge kwa area yao, wasiione tu the negative side, wacha waione kama kitu yenye inaweza leta faida. Ni mpaka tu inahitajika tu wafanye research ya vile wanaisaidia ile hasara ambayo inaletwa na that particular thing ileta faida sasa.
We live in a semi-arid region which mostly people are pastoralists. These people keep goats, cows, sheep, camels, and sometimes they do overgrazing, which meant that the land was very overgrazed, and therefore it leads to a lot of degradation, soil erosion, and all these kind of things.
And on news making headlines in the business world, the government plans to dispatch the Kenya Coast Guards to Lake Naivasha in a bid to secure the lake that is facing an extinction crisis. The Kenya Maritime Authority further says the KCG will also help in curbing the increasing number of fatal incidences and a lack of compliance with persons accessing the lake. KMA Acting Director General John Omingo said the Kenya Coast Guards will work with the Maritime Police in patrols to protect the lake from illegal activities.
In June this year, the Kenya Marine and Fisheries Research Institute, KEMFRI, warned that the country's fisheries sector could collapse due to illegal and indiscriminate fishing through the use of undersized nets. Apart from overfishing, the high number of boats in lakes had also been cited as a major threat to the sector and needed to be reduced by about 60% to save the lakes. To this end, the Kenya Maritime Authority, in conjunction with other state agencies, have announced plans to address these emerging issues.
We are policing the waters while the National Police are policing the land. So we normally work so closely to ensure that all illegality happening within the waters are stamped out.
The 80% of incidents that do occur in our water bodies are out of human error, which need to be really addressed by all stakeholders, not only the Kenya Maritime Authority, but all the stakeholders. But because of this particular workshop today seems to be addressing more on how to incorporate other stakeholders so that we can address this issue of safety and security within the water bodies.
Speaking in Naivasha during a safety compliance campaign workshop, KMA Acting Director General John Omingo said that they were keen to set up a permanent office in Nakuru to address the challenges facing the region's lakes, noting that a majority of those working in various water bodies were not trained, with 205 incidents recorded in lakes in the last 10 years.
From the reported cases, we said that over the last 10 years, we have had about 205 incidences, out of which we have lost 281 people, and we have rescued 525. And those are the reported ones. There are some which go unreported. And this instance is not, death is death. When it happens, particularly these people who go to the waters are breadwinners. When they die, is a big loss to their families, immediate families, the community, to the country and the region at large.
KMA and its multi-agency partners are already working in Lakes Victoria, Turkana and Baringo, with Naivasha and Nakuru being their next destinations. Alana Oko, Channel 1 Business.
Now moving on, bee farmers in the country have been urged to join cooperatives in order to leverage on modern apiculture training provided by the cooperatives. Speaking in Ngomeni Ward in Mwingi North constituency, bee specialist Dr. Temi Mutie said the move will increase productivity and profitability at grassroots level.
Imports about 80% of honey, despite there being a huge potential for the country to satisfy the market with the production of quality honey. The demand for honey in Kenya has been rising with each passing year. However, despite many decades of bee farming, the local market can only produce 20% of the demand, which has been blamed on poor beekeeping practices and the destruction of our natural habitats. Counties in arid and semi-arid areas are encouraging locals to venture into commercial beekeeping to increase their returns.
Ninaona ufugaji wa nyuki ni afadhali kuliko wachana kulima hiyo kitu kingine, sababu nikilima asali huwa nimpatia pesa nyingi kuliko shambani. Kwa hivyo nikaona afadhali tu nilime nyuki.
Speaking while issuing a certificate to Beekeepers Cooperative in Mwingi North constituency, Value Chain Addition Specialist Dr. Temi Mutia has further urged bee farmers to embrace modern beekeeping practices.
We already have potential markets for the honey, and we will be training some of their members on doing carpentry work to be able to make their own bee hives. We'll be training some of the artisans on how to make the smokers. And we will also be training very few specialized skills on how to do the queen rearing. And this is going to happen between today and the end of the year.
The farmers called on the county government to offer training in order to become successful beekeepers.
Naomba county government and even county government na Dr. Temi watufundishe sana ili to improve the quality of our honey in this
What?
During the exercise, beekeepers were given beekeeping and honey harvesting equipment, an initiative that will scale up their produce. Kitui has 5 bee farmers cooperatives with over 10,000 members and 100,000 beehives. Sheila Yogo reporting for Channel 1 Business.
The Nigerian Communications Commission has considered lifting the suspended spectrum trading guidelines 2018 pending conclusion of the ongoing review of the guidelines. The NCC board was satisfied that given the state of the consultation, it was possible to lift the suspension of the STG pending the conclusion of the review. Details of these and other stories in our Africa Business Roundup.
Nigerian Communications Commission Board resolved that the suspension of the SDG be lifted and that relevant stakeholders continue to operate the STG while a new revised STG is finalized in consultation with the industry. The Commission had earlier announced that the suspension of STG 2018 for the Nigerian telecommunications industry and informed all licensed telecoms operators, prospective investors, industry stakeholders and the general public of the regulatory decision. It had also taken the decision for spectrum trading in response to telecommunications global dynamics, as well as the efforts to optimally utilize and maximize the benefits of spectrum as a scarce resource. Meanwhile, in South Africa, electricity shortages and the country's precarious fiscal position are likely to be the biggest obstacles to South Africa's recovery from the COVID-19 crisis, the South African Reserve Bank said on Tuesday. Though monetary policy has provided substantial support to the economy with the bank cutting benchmark interest rates to a record low of 3.5%, the pace of the recovery will depend on the factors outside the bank's control, such as improved sovereign debt, sustainability and structural reforms, the central bank said in its latest monetary policy review. The SA Reserve Bank has now shifted to a wait-and-see strategy as it expects the repo rate to remain low after aggressive monetary policy easing in the first half of the year to counter the economic damage wrought by the coronavirus pandemic. Finally, TRAS, an international media group dedicated to empowerment and entertainment of Afro-urban people, has entrusted Molotov Solutions to develop and operate the new version of its OTT platform, TRAS Play. Using the Molotov platform, TRAS Play will offer more than 25 live TV channels, 100 radio channels, and some 1,000 hours of on-demand content. The platform will be distributed in 180 countries, a first for Molotov, notably in Africa, Europe, Caribbean, and North and South America. When it launches early Q2 2021, it will be available in French, English, and Portuguese. TRAS Play will benefit from Molotov Solutions' full application suite, which has already attracted about 12 million users in France.
In the sports arena, the Los Angeles Lakers are a win away from their 17th championship title and their first since 2010 after taking a 3-1 series lead in the 2020 NBA Finals following a 102-96 win over the Miami Heat. Meanwhile, defending champion Rafael Nadal will take on Diego Schwartzman in the win of the semi-finals of the French Open on Friday after the Spaniard beat Jannik Sinner 7-6, 7-4, 6-4, 6-1 in the quarters.
Led the way with 28 points, 12 rebounds and 8 assists, while Anthony Davis added 22 points and 9 rebounds, including a dagger three-pointer down the stretch to seal the win. Jimmy Butler scored a team-high 22 points to go with 10 rebounds and 9 assists for the Miami Heat.
And they're going to gift Jimmy Butler the three if that's what he wants. Drives on Howard, gets inside, count it, and one. Butler goes right at Howard, draws the foul, and a chance for a three-point play.
Today they asked him again. Success. Here he is out on the court.
He is so fired up the play. Caldwell Pope.
Tyler Hero added 21 points and Duncan Robinson 17. Bam Adebayo returned after missing 2 games with a neck and shoulder injury to score 15 points, but Goran Dragic remains sidelined with a foot injury.
Tyler Hero off balance, puts it in. Tyler Hero with another floater. Pushes up the floor. Caldwell Pope, bang! Davis for 3. Bang! Anthony Davis from downtown. and the Lakers take a 9-point lead. Timeout, Miami.
I mean, the job is not done. And, we get an opportunity to get our bodies back up underneath us with an extra day of rest, but also keep our minds sharp. I'm looking forward, once again, to looking at the film tomorrow, do all-around-the-clock treatment, and treating it like we played Thursday. I'm going to continue to get the work in. I'm going to continue to not sleep until the job is done. So look forward to the next match. Game 5 takes place in the early hours of Saturday morning. Elsewhere, Rafael Nadal's quest to equal Roger Federer's record of 20 Grand Slams at this year's French Open continues after 7-6, 7-4, 6-4, 6-1 victory over Italian Yannick Sinner. Sinner, the first French Open debutant to reach the last 8 since Nadal in 2005, confirmed his immense potential but lacked just a bit of composure when it most mattered. Nadal will now face world number 14 Diego Schwartzman, who early on eliminated world number 3 Dominic Thiem from the Roland Garros event.
Today he played an amazing match against one of the best players of the world, without a doubt, and especially under this surface. So he's coming with big confidence. Now 2 weeks in a row he's in the final in Rome, now semi-finals here. He beat me there, so that's a plus of confidence for him.
Schwartzman defeated Nadal in the Italian Open last month, but the Spaniard has gone on to win the title on every occasion after reaching the last 4 at Roland Garros.
And that is all we had for you this afternoon. Thank you so much for keeping it Channel 1 News. We shall have more news in our subsequent bulletins at 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. My name is Jacky Wambiru. Our sign language interpreter has been Lensa Odingo. Enjoy the rest of the day.